Hello everyone, this is Marcel and welcome to my channel. I hope you're all having an amazing day. This topic is one that I've been intending to get to for a very long time. And I mean a really long time. It was actually a video request done towards the time I first opened this channel, essentially surrounding the topic of female wingmen, though I'm increasing that to include female allies. If there is such a thing, though granted that's what we're going to be talking about, right? So ironically enough, the big reason why this video took as long as it did to finally get to is the women that I had selected and requested interviews from, that I'd spoken to, mostly friends, to actually be a part of the video to kind of get their input on things, record some audio about what their thoughts were. Yeah, they never got around to it. No judgments, of course. I mean, everybody has their own reasons, but every last one of them, canceled. Now, when I say canceled, it's more that they indefinitely put off being able to do it. Now, there's a number of reasons this may have happened. They didn't know that it was MGTOW related, so I doubt that there was any apprehension there. It was just a general interview dealing with interactions between people. I would have even considered compensation to some degree, but it just never came up. Perhaps we could summarize it as a general flakiness of society these days. I already made that video though, I'll put a link to it right there. So female wingmen and female allies. Now by wingmen, what I mean is someone who will go to a club, a bar, a social gathering with the person and will assist them in either picking up other women, picking up, other men. Pretty much anything the person is interested in, they're going to act as sort of a distraction, a diversion, and guide them to the ultimate goal of getting phone numbers, getting laid, whatever it is. They're there to help the other person get the attention that they want. A fairly simple example of this, basically off of Urban Dictionary, is if someone were to go into a bar with their buddy, and they walked up to a group of girls, like say 2 women, one of them was hot, one of them was ugly, or one was desirable, then the buddy would engage with the less desirable woman to get her distracted, to peel her off, dance with her, get her out of the way so that the main person would have access to the more attractive woman or the target. It's kind of a pickup artist type technique. Then of course by allies I'm referring to women who are willing to actively assist in romantic endeavors with their friend, with their man, with their acquaintance, however you want to look at it. But I'm speaking beyond that of mere advice. Everybody wants to give dating advice, but it's more along the lines of they're giving opinions, and opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one. Now, of course, I'm not conceding that any of my advice is more special. There's simply no question that every single mother is a dating guru given the opportunity to share her wisdom with the world. Such things are high on the list of categories of good deeds for the day. If they manage to set someone up or fix a relationship problem, even if it's just temporary in the form of a band-aid, it really all falls in the category of social networking, which is something we all know women try to excel at. So that really kickstarts my first point here. In the case that a woman is presenting herself as an ally or specifically a wingman, meaning that she is being placed in social circumstances where she will assist a guy in getting laid, let's just put it out bluntly, shall we? The first layer we should really peel off is she even doing it intentionally? She might be willing and unaware, and in that case, it's a ticking time bomb. If it hasn't been bluntly put out like, hey, you're here to help me find these women, then odds are when she figures it out, she's gonna be pissed. It may not be as hard as it seems to convince someone who has particular personality traits, who's very talkative and maybe wants to automatically latch on to certain kinds of people, to remove them from the equation in a conversation. Hell, maybe she's a lesbian and isn't interested in the same type of woman as the guy is. There might be opportunities there to take advantage of certain personality traits, though if it's ever performed on the long term, eventually she's gonna catch on. It's just a matter of time. Then all of the social networking established due to those activities will automatically be turned against the guy, almost instantly. Then you have scenarios where the woman is aware and conscious that she is intentionally helping the guy get laid. It's all about helping him out for some reason. Well, naturally she's going to have something to gain. There's no scenario I could picture in my mind where people would do that much activity without something to gain. Now, setting aside scenarios where she's like a hired actress and getting paid for it, extreme scenarios. So to say she's just a friend or an acquaintance that the guy knows really well, the benefit to her for doing such an activity is going to be always much higher than that of the man. And then when something goes wrong, if it ever goes south, the man is up front to take all of the brunt of the fallout. Now trust me, I get the temptation. The thought that a woman would be a wingman is huge, like the amount of power that would give the guy. But here's the thing, female own group preference is going to be the primary weak link in this chain. See, when it comes to guys and their preferences in the sense of camaraderie, there's a reason why the military branches have to constantly pound and train the concept of honor and integrity and camaraderie into these soldiers, and why there's so much of an apprehension when it comes to putting females into difficult combat roles because of how it affects the other soldiers. Now, I know that's kind of the cop-out as to why they didn't want women in the military, other than the fact that they can't do a lot of the jobs. But the concept that a man will go rushing to aid a female and ignore all of his battle buddies along the way, all the other men, just to help that one woman, that really happens. I have seen that happen. There are times where there is very little stronger than a man's urge and desire to reproduce and to appease the females, and that's the direction society is going. There's very little balance in the system. Men are being forced to become more and more thirsty, work harder to get that little bit of validation, that little bit of attention or reproductive access. The only reason that a wingman works if it's man and man working together is because both men will trade off in most cases to where they both get a benefit from it. In a sense, it's tit for tat, if I'm saying that correctly. One guy will get his turn and then the other gets a turn. And so they both benefit equally from it. That's not the case with a female. She's got to be getting something on her own. Well, where female group preference comes in is that the guy, from the female's perspective, from the target or, the woman in the club, from their perspective, the guy is taking advantage of that situation. He's using the circumstances to get what he wants. It's going to be perceived as unfair, let's say. And eventually, if he does that to enough women, and it's perceived by his female wingmen at some point as being toxic, she's going to turn on him. She's going to turn on him to help the woman that he's supposedly harming by getting her help. There's no equivalent balance that she's benefiting from it. See, the reason why I don't perceive any kind of female wingman or ally as being a viable resource is because every woman is another woman's wingman. They're all each other's wingmen. They're all helping each other. They're all acting together. They're all equally self-interested, but willing to take a hit for the team or to stand up for each other to the effort of defending themselves and their massive hive mind, not to coin a term by Sandman here. That mental programming is just as ingrained in them as seeking female validation is for men, for blue pill men, that is. I would be extremely skeptical of any woman who would actively assist a guy in those kind of endeavors. And I think that there's one main scenario where a woman would be willing to do something like that or actively assist in romantic scenarios. Now, let's exclude two things. One, she's getting paid directly, literally, for it. And two, she's a full-blown lesbian and is equally interested in chasing some tail. So putting those two options aside, she probably loves the guy. Well, quote-unquote love. She's interested in starting a relationship with him. She has feelings for him. So she's willing to do this act of kindness, help him out with his romantic endeavors as an ally, but mostly because she's trying to worm her way in romantically in that part of his life, and just for whatever reason doesn't want to come out with it and just be blunt with him, because women don't act that way. That's not intuitive to their nature. So I'm sorry, gentlemen, for anyone that was hoping. Some good advice: be skeptical of any bet that seems like a sure thing. Don't ever jump to buy a car that seems too low priced. And be very wary of any woman who wants to help with anything romantic. It's just smarter to go MGTOW and not have to deal with any of it, right? Rise above the drama entirely. Okay, so I've seen some comments on my channel requesting easier ways to view subtitles for those who speak other languages. I'm going to be posting my videos in another format on my other Mirror channel. I'll put a link down below, and it'll have a simple background so that subtitles will come through more clearly, and then that's a legitimate reason to post videos on my other channel. I've changed them so I'm not reposting exactly the same video. The fact that from now on it'll double as sort of a safety net in case this channel goes down is just a bonus. Furthermore, I'm looking at setting up live streaming on my channel. I don't know how often I'm going to use it. That's sort of Howard Dare's thing. I try to make it to as many of his hangouts as I can, but lately it's been tougher than it used to be. Well, let me know what you think down below. Do you agree with what I had to say? Disagree? Think I'm full of shit? I want to know either way. In the meantime, like, subscribe. I'll be back again soon. This has been Marcel.